Okay, so I'm kind of recording this, A, to really get better at commentary, because I need to learn how to use what most people call an outside voice. Even though that's usually my main go-to voice, I don't use it in videos, because I feel weird talking to myself for other people to hear, because at that point, you're not talking to yourself. But also, I recorded this because it's kind of a good way to see what my process is with drawing. When I draw, I art everywhere. I go through a lot of trial and error. There's always a lot of testing. Just like here where I'm struggling to draw a damn shoulder, so I just draw a circle. And that way I like the circle, trial and error. I also like looking over my art. This is the first time I'm recording because, always getting better, funny stories and all that. But I never actually recorded my art to see what my process looks like and how long it takes. I always thought it took me roughly around an hour and a half maybe to draw. This video took 2 hours and 30 minutes to record. And that was like with no breaks. Like I didn't even take a little pee break. Actually, I'm lying, I did. I didn't stop. Like nobody ever called me. I was just drawing this for a while. And every so often I'd take a pause to A, ask a question, or B, use the bathroom. Here's a prime example of my trial and error. I wanted to have her do a little peace sign, as you'd see, right? And so, first I wanted to just draw a hand, because if you guys have seen any of my older art, besides like the last 4 pieces I've done, you've seen that I don't hand, ever. So I drew a hand, and I said, and then I just duplicate it. So now I can see if I can make a peace sign using the same format that I did with the other hand. Now, I don't know if this is exactly a good method of drawing hands and different ways you can control them. Like Doflamingo. But this is kind of my process. If you have a better process, feel free to let me know. I'm pretty bad at this whole art thing. Yeah, I move that hand, I bring this one, and I say, okay, cool, I like it. Let's try to add the peace part to it. The whole thing about the peace part is I kept drawing the fingers like they're damn near bent, like Tanjiro's that one episode. No further spoilers. Going through the whole trial and error, I kept taking a second to look at my hand and say, if my hand looks like this, I guess I'll draw hers like that. I kept drawing it bent. It kind of pisses me off now, but it gets better later, just you wait. My whole process, aside from the whole trial and error portion, is really just it looks bad now, but I'm sure it'll get better with the actual color. Also, my sketches don't usually look this clean. My sketches are usually all over the place, never not all over the place. Except this one was a special occasion. This was actually a commission, in a sense. I want to start doing art commissions just because I've drawn for long enough to the point where I want to make money from it now. Essentially, my friend, Tech, I'll leave links to his socials in the description. He basically got me started with a commission from him. So, obviously, I said, yeah, let me try this out, see how I like it. Me personally, I think my art is kind of it's not at its peak yet, but doing commissions, if I'm drawing different things, I'm going to, I didn't even save it until now. Sheesh! I'm 4 minutes into this recording, and this is playing at 1,000 times speed, and I didn't even save it. I don't want to do the math there. I just know that I wait too long when recording constantly. But either way, me drawing different things is going to get me better at drawing. Somebody commissioned me Sonic the Hedgehog, so I can not being Sonic the Hedgehog. I'll obviously draw you Shadow the Hedgehog since it's cool. As you may or may not know, I don't exactly do art like this. I only recently just started doing relatively realistic art as of recently, where I actually gave them, damn hands and fingers and eyes and stuff. That was really a thing that I wanted to try to do for anime characters, and then I just kind of stuck to it. So, prime example of, me wanting to change a little bit, get better at the art and everything. Back to the whole commissions thing, because that entire thing was a side tangent. My sketches don't normally look this clean. You see me erasing lines here and there to, make it look more presentable. And that's because this is a commission. And from what I'm doing with commissions so far is I'm actually going to do clean sketches for, a certain amount of money. I'll probably have a little display thing shown because I don't want to explain all of it. That's just too much and tedious. But this is the first step where it's all gray and stuff. That's going to be a clean sketch. It's not going to have any cool line art or anything. It's just going to be, you know, pencil tool and stuff alike. I don't actually use pencil tool for sketches. I use a paintbrush tool, but it works the exact same. So now we're getting into the next section, which is line art portion. And line arts never really take me too long to do unless I'm just having a bad day. In real time, because this is sped up a lot, in real time line arts take me, like, depending on the actual post, like, you know, 4 minutes, something along the lines of those. I'm going to do sketches, which are gray, black and white and stuff like that. I'm going to do line art, which, if I remember correctly, I also keep the gray, black and white. I don't really do the coloring. I'm going to do solid colors with no shading or lighting, or backgrounds. No shading, lightings, or backgrounds for another set of money. And then I'm going to do shading, lighting, and background. So Tech here, before I made all the different money cases, he kind of just, you know, he just asked for a full profile picture type of picture. So that's why I chose the gray background here, so I can contrast and make him, I can give him solid color. The thing with my process is after I do the line art, well, the sketch and the line art, after I do the sketch and the line art, I move straight into solid colors. I just kind of paint tool. If you don't paint tool and you like color your things in by hand, you make me a bit scared, because that means you have some sort of unwilling willpower or something, an iron will. But me, I just kind of paint tool until I like what I see, which is why I went through like 6 different skin tones, as you saw. After solid colors, I move into backgrounds. I don't want to move too far ahead of the recording. As you can see, I'm also trying something new with eyes. I've never done that before, but I saw it in a few different tutorials. And I said, shoot, I want to do that. I did it. Okay, so now this is where I move into backgrounds. I kind of have to do backgrounds before I do shading, because I like to color the shading, not just have a little paint layer, use dark blue and everything like that. If you're an artist, you know what I'm talking about. I like to have it relative to the background. I decided to give her a little green shading because the art that he sent me, it gave me a lot of green vibe. I hope that makes sense. I just liked how it looked here. I kept trying to use shading that was too light, and at that point it's not shading. I don't really know what I was doing, but it worked out in the end. I continued to shade the tail, and everything is going hunky-dory. I really like this piece, and I hope that my art not only gets better, but stays consistent along with this piece, because then this piece is going to be really cool. And I can constantly refer back to this piece whenever I need something else. Essentially, the shading process, it doesn't take long, but also sometimes I'm a little stupid idiot and I shade places that don't exactly either need shading, or I overshade or undershade, one of those 3. So here, you know, I'm taking my little time and shading her hat, and after the hat, I'm pretty sure I move into lighting. Yeah, I move right into lighting. I just make another layer. I actually label my layers, but usually after the entire process is done. Just because I feel like if I'm in the moment, I know what I'm going to do. And I know a person, they asked me why I don't label my layers immediately. And that's because I know what I'm doing. I don't need to layer any of my layers for you. I'm layering it for me. That's why I do it in my own time. Like if I'm about to, you know, take a little break or something, then I'll layer it so I know what I'm coming back to. But also, my layers are never really too hectic. On average, I use about 5 different layers, excluding like reference and background, which you'll see here later. So far I'm only on 4, but you'll see later what I'm talking about. I'm also changing the color of the shading, just because I thought it was a bit too light in a sense. I didn't want it to be that light in contrast with the actual shading colors. Yeah, because I noticed that I accidentally opened shoulders and the lighting was touching the shading, which I'm pretty sure is physically impossible when you think about it. I don't like thinking, it's a bit too much work. So, as you can see here, trial and error, I used the smear tool, or the little blur tool or whatever, but I thought it was too strong. So as you can see, I lowered the opacity to 50. Whoa! Lowered the opacity to 50 and went to town on all the different shadow layers, and it was beautiful. I loved every second. I try to blur the lighting until like I slowly realized that that's pretty dumb actually. Why would you blur your lighting? I'm pretty sure there's probably instances where you can do that, but in an instance where you want quick lighting, like I'm doing here, where it's just a single strand, I don't think there's any reason to blur it since it's only about like 4 pixels wide. And there you go. I think that's the full thingamabobber. As you can see, I added a little hat thing in the top left corner. I thought it was cool. I thought it would be a good way to like watermark things, but that's not gonna stop anybody. So I might do something better in case anybody steals my art. Since I'm a growing content creator, I'm going to get my stuff taken from me, and I can't really sue because they're gonna laugh at me because they're YouTube headquarters. I also noticed that the reference art, her skin was pink in some cases, so I decided to add a little bit of detail like that in certain areas just because I thought it looked cooler, and it did. I liked it. 10 out of 10 would do again. I think that's everything now, right? Yeah, that's the finished piece. I liked how it turned out, and there are absolutely no further updates I need to do. Right, so remember when I said that I had nothing else to do and I was completely finished, no questions asked? I don't speak English properly, I guess, because I was missing something. What you're gonna see on screen is what he actually wanted. He asked for a furry tail, and I said okay, and then I didn't give him a proper furry tail, and so he said, can you like please do it again? And I felt bad because I'm pretty sure he did explain it properly, I just didn't read it correctly, so I just said yes, no questions asked. I'm a bit stupid, to say the least. What you're seeing now is the actual finished piece. If you like it, make sure you leave in the comments ways that you want to commission art that I do, because I'm a broke, unpaid, jobless high schooler. So that'd be pretty nice if I got paid for doing a hobby, and then I go to college still without a job, but like I have like $3 in my pocket instead of none. That'd be pretty fortunate. I also have zero clue how to end a video.